Hey guys, this is me, Orlando King, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to create a good public speech. And all you need is a video camera and a piece of paper. Step 1. Make a YouTube video about your process of learning how to public speak better. This is important. We need to show the whole entire journey in order to set up this formula perfectly. The whole concept is to make a public speech before all the research and notes, and then do the exact same public speech on the same topic, but with the notes. I'm going to be doing a speech about my clothing brand, Better Tomorrow, before all the notes and research, and then I'm going to be trying it after to see the massive improvement in public speaking. Step 2. Make your first speech without planning anything or doing any research. You want this one to be purposefully bad so that when you do the good one, and after all the research, it's way better and your progression is crazy. We need to dramatize things for YouTube, people. This clothing brand that I have called Better Tomorrow. I don't know if I have the. Basically, I wanted to create a clothing brand that was. Step 3. Accept that the first speech was bad. You're not mad about it because we already knew that. We kind of did that on purpose, remember? Now what we have to do is the research. Learning how to become an actual good public speaker. Now, lucky for you guys, I already did all the research, so I'm just going to be sharing that with you. But if you want to indulge in a little bit more, that's totally, completely fine. Now, let me tell you everything I learned through this research. If you haven't created your topic speech yet, then it should be around an issue, a problem that people are trying to solve, and your speech should be trying to solve it. You should know 3 to 4 times more than what you're actually going to be speaking about. Have that extra knowledge in the bank so that you never run out of things to say. Another thing is to plan multiple stories to talk about, because humans learn things through stories, not through cold-hearted facts. You have to make your speech risky. You have to make it a journey. Nobody knows the end, and that's what you should do. You should plan your speeches more loosely so that you can take the audience on a journey yourself. You gotta make it risky. Don't over-prepare. Someone bringing the cue cards and reading them on the speech isn't going to create the same effect as the I had a dream speech. Another big thing is you should get audience interaction within the first minute. Ask them a question. Everyone's watched a TED Talk where the guy's stereotypically, raise your hand if you've ever felt vulnerable in life. Everyone raises their hand. It seems kind of tacky, but it's important to get the audience involved. Another thing, there should be lots of jokes within the start that lightens the mood and keeps people interested in the speech. Another big thing, as I said earlier, is you have to tie your points, your facts, in with stories. That's how you make those points relatable for the audience. Another big thing is to embody those characters you're playing. When you're on the phone, you should be going like this. When you're talking about a guy who's really sad, you should be talking on the stage like you're slouched over and you look sad. You should embody these characters and move around a little. You never want to see a guy who's just stiff and kind of just stares at the thing. You start with a metaphor in the beginning, you can tie it full circle in the end. That's a very popular trope, and I think it makes a very satisfying conclusion for the speech. And now, here's the thing to memorize the speech, because I think that's something all people have issues with. Memorizing the speech and not saying it word for word. Well, first of all, you should memorize the first and last sentences of the speech to nail it perfectly on the head on the most important parts. A great way to memorize a speech is to write it in chunks. Don't write it word for word and just try and memorize the whole thing. Put it in chunks, beginning, middle, end, and then put the main talking points of every part and just remember the talking point and go off on that. That will make it way easier to remember. That is the majority of all the information that I have learned in a summary of, 5 minutes or so. So let's get back to step 4. Step 4. Become satisfied with all the facts you just learned and start to become overconfident when actually writing the speech. You'll become so overconfident and kind of cocky to the point where you write your speech in the matter of 10 minutes. And then you say your new and improved speech. Whether it's a blue Under Armour t-shirt with orange basketball shorts, a button-up shirt that you had to wear for work, or a long sleeve that doesn't completely match your pants. We're all wearing clothes all the time, basically. And believe it or not, clothes do have an effect on your emotional state and the way other people perceive you. I mean, you could blame that on society being superficial, but I would rather just accept that fact and you're done. Look at how much you improved since the first speech. Now I know that's not saying much, but you should be happy with yourself. Now, you can add a reflection at the end if you want, but all you have to do now is edit your video. Oh wait, you don't like the last speech because you got way too overconfident and didn't actually pay attention to the writing? Guess we gotta keep making this video. Step 6. Start editing your video really late at night and become frustrated with the results of your second speech. Realize that it's all you drew it up to be, and it's actually not that good. Step 7. Realize how bad your second speech was, and in a panic, create a completely new one from scratch with no script in mind. Tell me if you've ever asked yourself this question before. What is the meaning of life? Or if you've ever asked some sort of variation of it. When you're a little kid, you ask, what if our whole life is just a video game? Or when you just finished playing Cow Simulator with your friends at recess after eating a ton of grass, you say, what if we're all just a little pieces of Lego being controlled by one other bigger human being? And as you get older, the questions seem to get a little darker. What's the meaning of life? Should I just give up? Things like that. And it seems like the older you get, the harder it is to answer that question. Time and time again, when I ask myself this question, there's been one answer that's been working for me every time. You're the hero, you're the star of this super inspirational movie about a guy who doesn't really know what he's doing, who feels like he's doing nothing, who's struggling, or is just oblivious. You're the guy in that movie who comes out of the ashes and becomes something great. Because nobody cares about a movie about a rich guy who gets everything he wants and is living his dream life. That's not relatable to us. We want the people that are like us. And you're the star of that movie. And you need to ask these questions because you need to be at a lower point. You need to have the hard moment in the movie. And then you have to get up, realize what you're doing this all for, and go through the montage scene where you're putting in all the work and you're improving every day. Now, sometimes this may be hard. I mean, those movies are just fictional characters, and it's a lot easier for a fictional character to pull through than a normal Joe like us. And they have superpowers, and they have big things, and they're super attractive because they hired a movie actor for this. But here's one superpower that we have. Their whole movie is 1 hour and 30 minutes. Our whole movie is 90 years, hopefully. You've got days ahead of you. And all you have to do is try and improve a little bit every day to live a better tomorrow. And that's your secret superpower. That's my secret superpower. I realize that I'm the star of this movie, but it's a bit of a long one, so they're gonna have to stick through this. And I'm gonna improve, I'm gonna struggle, but I'm also gonna do the things I wanna do. That lets me take the leaps of faith. That lets me do the things I really wanna do. And one thing that really helps is these shirts that I created. My clothing brand, Better Tomorrow. When I'm wearing one of these shirts and I look down, I remember what I'm doing this all for. What the movie's all about. Step 8. Realize that your panic speech is actually better than the original. And be shocked at this fact and realize that you actually put an okay speech together, which gives you motivation to improve and satisfaction in the future. And best of all, I used all the tips that was mentioned earlier in this video. Just kidding, don't scroll back, you're not going to be that impressed. It would have been cool if I tied this all together, but I didn't do it, okay? And finally, step 9. Realize that all of these tips could have been completely avoided if you had just created a good speech and wrote a clear, nice, clean speech from the start. I just wasted you guys' time, but subscribe?